go about creating rust? First of all, have a look at rust in your environment. Lots of reds, browns, oranges, yellows. These give you a fair idea of the sorts of colours that you'll need to get started in making great rust. Here are some photographs of where I've used this technique in my own work. So I start off by using burnt sienna. I then use raw sienna, burnt umber and raw umber. And as you can see, dabbing them on with a sponge as opposed to a brush, really lightly, heavier in the areas that you want to look particularly rusted, has a really nice effect on what essentially is here a piece of cardboard. I then follow that up with a enamel wash. So let's paint this resin casting. This is a mould that I've prepared just by cleaning it up, giving it a good wash in soapy water, and then a black car primer. The reason I use black rather than grey is because it gets inside all the nooks and crannies, so once you have painted it up you don't get any white bits showing, which I think is really important. In Rust Armoury I have some acrylic paints, and that's burnt sienna, raw umber and raw sienna. Mig paints are just perfect for modelling. The consistency's right, the opacity and transparency is just right. I find I can use them straight from the bottle, don't need to thin them. It's just important to give them a really good shake first, and as you can hear, in the ammo bottles there's a little silver ball which makes sure that you mix the paint properly. I also use Vallejo Paints, and equally they're just as good for this job, and I use the normal series, but also if I'm airbrushing then the Vallejo Air. The third product I use are the Mig Oil Brushes Set, and this is the rust set. It comes in a pack of 3. This has everything that you need to really create some good quality rust, but they're oil based rather than acrylic based, and I quite like using these oil based ones. Start by putting a base colour onto the castings, and the idea is just not to put too much paint on the brush at all, just a tiny bit on the tip enables you to be far more accurate. So I'm just going to pick out things like the engine block on this particular car. Okay, well I hope you can see that. Just gives you an example of painting up one of the cars really roughly, doesn't take long. A little bit of silver on some of the other cars. So we've got some more to add some rust effects to later on. So all I'm going to do now is paint up the other cars in different colours, and we'll come back when that's all dry. So you can see all of the different colours are painted here. It's really rough but ready to start the rusting process. Here I'm using Mig Old Rust paint, lightly sponged on. Next colour I apply is dark rust. The last colour I use here is the Mig Medium Rust. In this next stage I use the Ammo Mig Streaking Rust effects. And when everything is dry, I then use the medium rust pigments. And here are the finished castings. So go and have a go. Create some rust of your own.